Assalamualaikum students. I hope you all are fine. As in our previous videos, we have completed our chapter number 2, which was a poem. So now we have to complete the workbook work of that poem, which is on page number 7, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, on page number 7. So take out page number 7. Okay. So now, stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Here are some exercises. We have to complete them. Now let's move toward the first one. Noun, verbs and adjectives. As you know, in our previous classes we have read about nouns, verbs and adjectives. Noun are basically the name of a person, place or a thing. Verbs tell us any kind of action, and adjectives tells about the quality of the quality of the noun. Okay, so here are some words that can be used as nouns or verbs. Use them in sentences of your own, once as a noun and once as a verb. Okay, so here are some words: harm, mark, shame, present, load. You have to write them as a verb and also as a noun also, okay, in your sentences. Now let's move towards the first one. Harm. So as they have given the example over here, in the first one, you can see that the gas caused the people a lot of harm. Okay, they use this word as a noun over here. So in the next sentence, you have to write it down, the sentence of Mark. Write it down. He has an injury mark on his leg. He has an injury mark on his leg. Okay, now let's move toward the third word, which is shame. You have to write it down. Mark my words. So sorry, okay, so you have to write it down, the sentence of shame. Write it down on the third line. He found shame on stealing. He found shame on stealing. The spelling of stealing is Stealing. Come on to the next one. Present. You have to write it down, the sentence of a present as a noun, using it as a noun. Write it down. He gave me present on my birthday. He gave me present on my birthday. Come on to the next one, which is load. Write it down. He has a lot of workload. He has a lot of workload. Come on to the next one. Now we have to use all these words as a verb in the sentences. Okay, so let's move. They have also given the example over here. Be careful, do not harm the baby squirrel. Okay, they have given the example, so you have to write it down with the remaining ones. You have to write it down, the sentences of the remaining ones. Okay, now let's move toward the second word, which is mark. Write it down. He has marked his attendance. He has marked his attendance. Okay, the spelling of attendance are ATTENDANCE. Okay, now let's move toward the next one, which is shame. We have to use this word as a verb over here, so write it down. He was feeling shame on his attitude. He was feeling shame on his attitude. Come on to the next one, which is present. Write it down. He is present in the class. He is present in the class. Come on to the next one, which is load. You have to write it down. Passengers were loading their luggage on bus. Passengers were loading their luggage on bus. Okay, I hope you all get clear. Now let's move towards the next part, which is the second question, which is, here are two more words. Use them as noun, verbs and adjectives. As I've told you in the beginning, the definitions of nouns, verbs and adjectives. So here are two words they have given us, and we have to use these words as a noun, as a verb and as an adjective in our sentences. Okay, so now let's move towards the first one. Fine as a noun. Okay, so we have to write it down, the sentence. Write it down. In the first line, he gave fine for coming late. He gave fine for coming late. Come on to the next one, which is fit. Okay, we have to use this word as a noun in the sentence. Write it down. Physical fitness is also important for our health. Physical fitness is also important for our health. I'm repeating it again. Physical fitness is also important for our health. Now let's move towards the next page. Now we have to use both that words fine and fit as a verb, okay, in the sentences. Let's move towards the first one. As a verb, you have to write it down. Are you fine? Are you fine? Question mark. We have used this word as a verb over here. Okay, let's move toward the next line. We have to use the word fit as a verb over here. Okay, you have to write it down. He was not fit for the challenge. He was not fit for the challenge. The spelling of challenge are CHALLENGE. Okay, now let's move towards the next one, which is now they were saying that we have to use both that words fit and fine as an adjectives over here. Okay, so let's start. As an adjective, first we have a word fine. Write it down. Salt is finely powdered. Salt is, you have to write it down. Salt is fine powdered. Okay, don't put ly in fine. Okay, salt is fine powdered. The spelling of powdered are powdered. Salt is fine powdered. Let's move toward the next one. Now we have to use word fit as a adjective over here. Okay, write it down. He is physically fit. He is physically fit. Okay, I hope you all get cleared, and you have to write it down, the sentences which I have dictated you over here in these lines. Okay, now let's move towards the second part, which is story writing. Look at these pictures carefully and discuss them in class. Okay, so this activity or this question was this question has to be discussed in class. So we will discuss part B and we will do the part B of this chapter in our class. Okay, students, and they were saying that there is a kind of a pictures, and on the next page they have told us that you have to write it down, the ideas of that poem. First we will discuss that story in our class, then on the next page we will discuss all the ideas, titles, characters of this story in our class. Okay, we will do this in our class. Okay, and then they have said this, that now write the story in your notebook. We will do this thing in our class, as they were saying that we have to discuss them in the class. Okay, I hope you all get cleared. If there is any problem, you may ask in the comment section.